Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining the session. My name is Shane Webb. I'm just doing a little bit of a welcome and I'm assisting on the technical side. And before we introduce you to the team who's actually going to be presenting today, I need to introduce you to the man, the myth, and the legend, the one and only, can I have a drum roll, please? Armand Smit. Armand, thank you for joining us today. I know that you're on a hectic deadline and there's lots that you're working on, and we're very grateful that you're able to just spend just a couple of minutes just so that the guys can see you and also hear from you. You don't have to say a lot, just what you can tell us. Armand has been the head developer for Draftworx ever since I can remember, which is a long time ago. And yeah, it's always been a pleasure to work with you, Armand, and I've always been amazed at what you can do. And I know that you've just mentioned one or two things now, and I'm like, how on earth are you going to do that? But anyway, I'm glad that you can. Armand, just over to you. Why don't you just tell us, I know you can't tell us everything. You can't tell us exactly what you're working on because there's certain clients and that we can't disclose. But what you can share with us, won't you please go ahead and do that? Over to you. Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah. Afternoon, Shane, and everybody else that's joined. Thank you very much for the cool intro, Shane. Yes, it's been a while that I've been since I joined Draftworx. I think I've been with the company maybe 16 or 17 years now. We've grown tremendously. The product has grown tremendously, largely due to all the recommendations, requests from our users. So thanks a lot for everybody involved in that as well. Yeah, Shane mentioned we've got a couple of exciting features that we're hoping to release hopefully by mid-year this year. One of them is in-app notifications or in-app messaging to different team members in different audits. So you can basically, on the electronic review, when you assign something to a person in the electronic review, they will get an in-app notification in Draftworx. It'll pop up and tell you that in this audit, you've been assigned this specific document to action, and that goes for closing or actioning items in the electronic review as well. And the exciting part is on top of that, we'll have a companion mobile app that'll go with it. So you will get a push notification on your mobile telling you that this document has been assigned to you in this audit for you to action, and can comment and chat through that as well. So I think that'll promote internal communication between team members and an audit firm quite well, and maybe free up a lot of resources in an audit that used to go to tracking people down and making sure that things get done. The electronic review was helpful with that, but now even more transparency and greater visibility of things that are owing by you in an audit I think will be quite useful. So yeah, so there's got some great things coming up this year. Please keep up all the requests and all the help that we get from our users. Thank you very much. And that's about it from me.
Thanks very much, Armand. It's fantastic just for the guys to hear from you, and it's very exciting. So Armand is the head dev, and it's my great pleasure to introduce you to the head presenter for the session today, and that's Nicole. Nicole Enslin has been with the company for a while now, but she's been with Draftworx for many, many years. In fact, I go back to at least, I think it's 2013, Nicole.
Pretty much, yeah.
And Nicole actually attended one of the Excel courses that I presented, and it was great to work with you all those years ago. And I believe Nicole was just saying that she used some of those Excel skills in her Draftworx when she was actually updating formulae and everything. But you're in very safe hands. What we're going to do is, Nicole, if you can just introduce the other speakers as they come along. Can I please invite you just to, Armand, thanks. I know that you've got to run.
Thanks, Armand.
Jump off. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good time.
Thank you. Cheers. Bye-bye. Let me stop the share, and if you can just take it, please, Nicole.
Yeah,
and while you're doing that, I just need to tell you as well that we have got two folks, again, just like Tuesday, looking after the questions, the Q&A, and that is Clarissa and Michelle. And Clarissa and Michelle, thank you for the awesome job that you do behind the scenes there. I can't believe how quickly you guys can type. And just, I had a look at the questions that were asked. They were all tended to. It's absolutely amazing. There weren't any outstanding at the end of the session, which is phenomenal. On that note, I'm going to hand over to you, Nicole. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much, Shane. Thanks for everything you do on our side as well. We do really appreciate it. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to those who joined us in basics. Welcome to any new attendees. The good news is today is Thursday and Freya called and she said she's bringing the weekend. So one less worry this January, the weekend is coming. Okay. Firstly, A very big shout out to you and a very big thank you to you, all our clients and all our users, without whom this honestly would not be possible. You guys are the ones who drive us to do better for you. Your recommendations are always awesome. They're always great to hear from, and we really do love engaging with you. We just appreciate your support. So once again, thank you from all of us at Draftworx. Keeping with our 2020 Thrive theme, what we're going to do today, so we're going to cover some more of the advanced features, okay? We want to show off some of the really cool things we love to use that benefit our users in saving you some time. One last quick thank you before we get into it. I just do want to give a massive shout out to our dynamic development team. Yes, we did just hear from the amazing Armand, but also to the whole development team. Thank you for all your hard work and really some very impressive features and functions that you guys pull in that just blow us away every time you guys do. So thanks, you guys are absolutely awesome. And on that note, let's begin. Okay, so today in the advanced topics, what I want to kind of show off is just a bit more kind of first in the client setup. There were a lot of little tabs we didn't go through. So ideally, I want to show off what they can do. So we briefly touched local, remember, public documents on your local hard drive, but I can set up a server. So remember, settings, go to my settings feature and go to my profiles. And what you'll note is in my remote clients, which is my server clients, I've got a pathway which is linked to another colleague of mine, so therefore I can actually see what files they are seeing. I have another path here called archived clients, so also same idea, pulled it to there. I'm going to explain it as I get to it. So server client is in that instance where you're in a big accounting firm, or maybe you have one of those hardcore servers. You all want to read your files from the same point. So you can see here, I have one little client, okay? When you have a server client, what you can do is, yes, maybe I'm working on the server. This is an accounting world, so maybe I need to work on the weekend and I kind of don't have access to the server and I don't feel like coming into the office. It's winter, it's cold. I want to work from, the comfort of my own home. So I can take my server client and I can come to this button over here called transfer. I can book out to my local, okay? So if I book out to my local, it's going to basically copy the file through to my local files. So now I can go and I can work on it. I don't need access to my server. When I want to book it back in, i.e. put it back into the server on Monday morning, again, I can go and I can say transfer, book it back into server. What you will notice though, server client, when I've booked it out, there's a little lock feature on it. So in other words, this means no one else can access it. Otherwise, if they do, they go work on it, you're working on it, no one knows which one is the most up-to-date and correct one. Someone will eventually end up losing some of their work. So that is why we do lock the file when you transfer it from any one of the other locations. Okay. I also have what we call the WebSync. So, okay. WebSync, as we mentioned, is a cloud, online cloud server. We are not currently charging. It will only be charged with effect probably June or July this year. It has been free of charge since COVID times. It also enabled the clients to work remotely so that you can all see the files, especially if you don't have access to that server. So when you're out auditing, you can use WebSync. You are more than welcome to inquire about more information from it from our lovely support team. We'll happily explain it to you, show you the rundown. But effectively, WebSync, I can then go and say, all right, let me log into my WebSync. I have my own firm code, my own user details. I log in and ultimately I'm able to now access files remotely. So there you can see I've got Cookie Monster files on my file list. I can then go to the client, work in the file, great stuff, okay? Again, you can also book the files out to your local, to your server, okay? Again, if there isn't any internet connection, maybe you want to book it out to the local, you are not being stopped from working. Okay. Right. Archived clients. So I have what I look like a very long list of clients. Okay. Okay, it's very short for me, but in the real world, you have quite a lot and a long list of clients, okay? Now, most of us like to see, I've got archive for, archive file, got my current year, I've got my prior file. But now, what happens if I want to, say, shorten my list? Well, that's where my archived clients come into play. So here you can see I've got archive 1, 2, and 3, tax years 22 to 2023. And again, it's just the same simple complex. You go archive 4, and all I want to do is go to actions, and I'm going to archive the client. And all it does is literally move my file from my local to my archive. And the best part is, especially for auditing firms, because of the whole lockdown of an audit file, you can archive, you can go to reports, and it's going to give me a compliance report indicating when the file was hard locked down, or archived, should I say. Okay, all right, so that brings me to local, server, WebSync, and archived. Okay, before I continue with the rest of the tabs, I would like to take this moment to introduce our lovely Noella. Noella is our secret magician when it comes to video editing and all those cool things that we do. And she's going to amaze us with some very magical time-saving tips and tricks. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing and hand over to you, Noella.
Thank you, Nicole. I'm gonna share my screen now. Just a second. Can you see my screen?
Not from my side.
Not yet.
Okay,
I'm
now
just
it's
jumping
there.
on the camera. I'll
Okay.
tell you when it's coming through. There we go. Thanks, Noella. Well
Okay.
done. Great. Over to you. Thanks.
Hi, everybody. I'm Noella, and I would love to share some few tips and tricks on what you can use on Draftworx to make your life a bit easier. So the first one that I thought would be a good one to share is the grouped clients. So at the top here, you're going to see group clients. You click on it and it will show you the year end. So now all your client files have been grouped into years. So if I close it, you'll notice that it has all been grouped by year. So in case you would like to have a look at 2025, only just click on the plus sign and it will appear. And if you would like to perhaps look through clients, maybe you'd like it to be grouped by clients, you can just simply drag the year end down and drag the client name up. And then it groups them based on the client name. So you can just close it, then it looks way neater. I think this is a very fantastic feature that the developers have created, as it makes life much easier and it's easier to navigate. So if you click on the first one, like the African Pty Limited, you can see that only and the years that were created. So I think that's a really great feature that was made. And the next one that I think is a really cool feature is on the client file. So on your client file, you would go to the colorful circle at the top and click on bulk print. I'm not sure if anyone has seen it. If you haven't seen it before, consider this your lucky day. So how this one works is that you can bulk print, meaning that you can print a lot of documents all at once. Back in the days, I used to print documents one by one, and it was such a mission. And honestly, this day and age, we don't have time for that. So I like to print, especially my lead schedules. So I just click on the plus sign, and it will show me all the lead schedules on Draftworx. So what I do to make it a bit easier as well is I go to my not applicable column. Then I will just filter it to false. So when I filter it to false, it will only show me the leads that have amounts in them. So once that's done, I just click on print on the ones that I would like you're not really limited on how many to print at once. And then you can either print immediately, or you can click on save as separate PDFs or save as combined PDFs. So once you save it as combined PDFs, you can simply just locate, pick where you would like to find it. So I just pick on downloads, and this is how it will appear once done. So it will be the PDFs and they'll be all combined into one. So I think this saves so much time and effort. I really love this feature. And the last magic trick that I'd like to share today is, so on your report, at the bottom here, you'll notice that there's these dark blue lines. You can either manually capture the information, or if you don't want to, you can simply go to template tools. Then you can click on apply additional practice. You'll see that that information has disappeared. So once that's done, you can simply go to your client setup. Then you go onto your far left-hand side. You're going to notice additional practice details. You just click on that, then it will show you this information here. So I'm going to just simply type in green day, a greenhouse, let's say, as the firm, and I will put in Jerry Jones. Then I will change the firm type to accounting officer. Then I will go back to my financials, and boom, the information is now appearing there. So this is all I would like to share with you for today. I hope it helps you in the future. Thank you so much. Back to you, Nicole.
Thanks, Noella. I absolutely love those tips and tricks. I know the bulk printing is really cool, especially for the auditors when they need to go and print a whole lot of stuff. Yeah, you did an awesome job. Thank you so much. All right, let's get my screen back up and running. Okay, so again, like I said, we're going to go through some of these buttons. So on the transfer, we saw book into server, book into WebSync. So for some of our more regular users, these were generally mostly the only two options available. What you now see is an option called download from Draftworx Cloud. So what does this button do? To quote Dee Dee from Dexter's Lab, well, this button's actually quite awesome in the sense of, we know quite a few firms sometimes focus on accounting, and then they've got an auditing department, and maybe they are using our wonderful Draftworx Cloud package, okay? Keep in mind, Draftworx Cloud's webinars are next week, and they are going to be amazing, okay? The Draftworx Cloud download option is simply going to do this. You're able to log in, okay? So I'm going to go download from Draftworx Cloud. I'm going to log into my practice. Right? And if I've got more than one practice, I would just choose the correct one I'm running from. So I'm just going to go into mine. And what you'll now note is, remember we had local, we had server, we had WebSync. I've now got a list called Cloud Clients. So if I need to, say, audit my accounting department's financial statements or the client's financial statements, I can download the financial statements by logging into their cloud. You can see here's my little list. So we're going to go and we're going to pull in my ABC Limited, all right? How do I now get ABC Limited onto any one of my servers? Simply go to transfer, simply go and say download to local. Okay, yes, I want to copy it. And simply that's going to pull in my cloud file into my client list. Right, so really awesome new feature that they brought in. I think it came in around about just towards the end of last year. Absolutely love it, because if I go into that file, it's basically a copy paste of my cloud information. Awesome feature. Love it. Okay. Now delegation, I will cover when I'm inside a file. So delegation is simply this. If you are an auditing firm, okay, and unfortunately, really bad internet connection when you're at a client and the WebSync option's not available, or whatever the reason may be, and you would like your team to be still collaborating at the client with their certain working papers, So I'm able to actually delegate portions of my client file to a specific user. I shall run it when I'm in one of my pages, or files, should I say. In my actions, okay, if I ever want to copy a file, I can create a client copy. Literally, it's a copy-paste version of what you select. I can create a client backup. Creating a client backup creates me a zipped file that I can easily save somewhere on a hard drive if that's how I want to back up my information. Okay, right. So again, awesome little actions. Okay, now before I dive into any more of these amazing actions, I just want to quickly check some on that side. All right. So we talk a lot about the auditors, we talk a lot about the files, but now I'm looking over here and I see a lock, I see a little download error, and I see an I, okay? So basically these indicate some form of access level. That is a lock. That is actually a delegation file. So if you ever do see that logo on any one of the files, which you will later, it's a delegation, and that I means read only. So how do I do that, okay? So again, we get into the instance where I've got various files on my list. And of course, I'd like to maybe make my prior year a read-only file so that no one accidentally edits anything in there by mistake. So I can simply go to a file. Okay, so I select it. You can see it's got a nice little blue line going through it. I go to access, and this will be a manager or partner level procedure. Okay, because you do require a password to do this. I can then go and I can either say enable read only. Okay, and you can see it's asking me for a manager password. So this we would then obviously fill in, and I get the pop-up, are you sure you want to enable? So I'm going to say yes. When I do enable read only, it is going to give me a file with limited things to do. So if I open my financial statements, okay, it will gray out all my features. Okay, so I will not be able to see any design features. I can literally just preview. Therefore, no editing of the file will be allowed. Okay, so you are able to do that if you've got the instance where I want to have a look at my prior file, and then instead of being in the wrong file and making the wrong changes, can enable a read only. Now I can then go access disable read only, which I will do now because I want to change my level up a bit. Okay. Then of course we've got the lock option. So when you lock a client, it actually means it is locked. No one can enter it without the password. So here again, you go and now it asks you for a password tab. So you can actually go and set your level that you want. Okay, I'm just going to use my manager password for now. And there I've locked my file. Okay, let me just make sure I'm logged out. So in the event I want to access the file, it will tell you who locked it and you need that specific password. Yes, we are aware that sometimes the passwords accidentally get distributed throughout the firms and you may want to change it. This is very possible on our side. You just need to send the support team an email and explain, and then we'd be able to assist you with that. Okay, so passwords can be updated if you feel like your passwords have been passed on for too many generations and everyone knows it. Okay. Next thing I just want to show and highlight is within our settings, when on basics, I did kind of touch briefly on it, selecting templates, keeping in mind templates are your financial statements part of the framework, right? So I have Botswana selected, I have South Africa selected, okay? If I happen to have a client from Ireland, all I want to do is prepare their financial statements in accordance with their compliance of their Companies Act or reporting requirements. I select them, okay? And you'll see that it says to be installed. I'd apply and close, and then successfully what would happen is that would install all my templates and I'd be able to select it from my framework, okay? Just as a note, you only really want to select the countries you are actually working in. Otherwise, it does take up a lot of disk space, and then you end up with quite a lot of frameworks to choose from, and then you maybe accidentally select the wrong country, and then you're wondering why it looks different to what it should be. Okay, so just as a note, that's our templates. Okay. All right, okay. My cool features that I want to show off, okay? direct import and a drill down. So I just want to get into the right file. So created a file, got my working trial balance, okay? I'm now going to, because we focused on the spreadsheet, just to kind of give everyone a general idea of if the accounting package isn't available for you, you can use Excel. However, I've now got a Sage TV that I want to pull in, and I want to show off a really cool thing about it. So I'm going to go direct imports, Sage Business Cloud. Now, when you get to the screen, and it would be the same for Xero or QuickBooks, you get the login screen. These login details are for the accounting software that you are using. All right, so I'm going to log in. And it's obviously going to give me the list of all my clients. So I'm going to go select one, and I can then go and import into my opening balances. I can import into monthly if I'm doing monthlies. So I'm going to just import this here. Let's go and import. Okay, I've imported all my amounts. You know what? I'm going to use the smart linking just to proceed a bit. Okay, so remember smart linking, machine learning style. It's basically assuming based on a whole history of information where to take the link to. So have a fully linked trial balance. You know, we did see this in basics. So what's the cool part? The cool part is this. So if you go to the direct imports and you go to the amount, okay, I can go and you'll see as I hover over the amounts, my figures are kind of changing into like almost a dark blue text. Okay, why is that? Well, I can go and I can right click and I can go and I can say drill down. And what it'll do is it's going to give me basically the general ledger that you would see in your Sage. Okay, so I can now go and see what makes up that transactions of 980,000. I can export it. Doesn't mean I now need to have an extra tab open with the accounting software there. I can actually just go ahead and pull this in through from there. Okay, I love it because I don't need to have two different applications and then wonder where the music's coming from. At least I can just stay in one application at a time. Okay, all right, so there we go. We've done that one. Okay, then let me get into our file. So I've gone back into my 2024 file that we were using. Okay, now I'm going to explain a few things. Right, so in client setup, I've got two buttons here. Team setup, electronic review. Okay, team setup and electronic review. Also, a lot of the auditors like to use this one. But cool little nifty tricks to learn from here. So if I do have a bunch of team members included in my file, i.e. I've got a clerk, I've got a manager, I've got the partner, and I kind of want to at least ascertain the levels. Well, I can go to team setup, okay, and I see here I've got a team setup, and now you'll see again, green filter bar, awesome. Got nothing to filter because I haven't really done anything yet. So now I've got my orange bar, which means I need to enter information. So I can manually enter information. So I can go and I can add Anya, okay? And I can say, well, Anya is going to be my trainee, okay? I can put in her email address if I want to. I can just simply press enter, creating a team member, okay? Team member also kind of implies I can now send her a notification and be like, hey, Anya, why is your PPE out with R1 million? And she'd be like, whoopsie, I forgot to add the addition. Okay, so you can talk to each other. And as I mentioned, we're obviously building something really awesome. So that's going to come and make this kind of, you know, work it even better. Okay, if I have got a big auditing firm, or if I have got a really big team, you know, again, tedious having to mention everyone's name, fill in the whole list. Goodness, surely there's a shortcut. Well, of course there is. This is Draftworx. So import audit team, okay. So anyone that is linked to my firm code or to my licenses, I can then go and I can select them. So I'll go select myself, we'll go select test, and it's just going to pull my information in for me. Okay. I can then go and say, okay, great. You know, there's the manager, test is the partner. I indicate their levels. I can then also pop them notifications. So anytime anything's assigned to someone, you can tick it. They'll get a notification. As I mentioned, this will be coming in with more improvements. So look forward to that. But I can set up a team. Yay. All right. Now, bring me to my next one. electronic review. Okay, so electronic review is simply this. It's a giant schedule of what is included in your Draftworx file. Okay, and when I say giant schedule, I literally mean a giant schedule because it breaks it up into everything. So you'll see there's client setup, there's my financial data, there's taxation, there's all the working papers. So one thing to note, I could say, okay, cool, my financials, I'm going to tell Anya she needs to, go and do them for me. So I can tell Anya, you've been assigned to do the financial statements. I can then go and say, okay, well, journals will be the responsibility of test, okay? And then, of course, from here, you can actually go and mark things off as prepared, reviewed, partner reviewed. We do cover this a lot in the RAC methodology, the working paper methodology, but from a, just a normal accounting point of view, you can go and mark things as prepared. So you can go and I can say, okay, well, I prepared this. It'll mark it as a yellow. I can go and say, okay, well, our manager reviewed my, once I log in, let me log in, go log in, manager review. Okay, and we have the different colors. Now I've logged in as a manager. You can see I've got options to tick. Gonna go review the journals. It makes it green. You know what? Now the partners come into play and they go and they log in. Remember, these passwords are only requested via email and will be given to the designated person in control of the Draftworx account. So go mark something as a partner review. Hopefully you are reviewing this work, okay? We did kind of go through a lot of this in basics, so I'm happy to say I did do all of this. All right, so there you go. I've kind of gone and marked it as reviews. You can see the different levels, okay? The X over here marks for any exceptions that are raised when you do a note between you and another user. The N, not applicable. The L stands for locking. So I can actually lock a document for no further editing. And this is just simply that little schedule that we have. Note, you can actually toggle how you'd like to look at it. So I see a lot of blues, which you'll note are the not applicable colors. So if I don't want to see my not applicables, I can turn it off and minimize my list. Big schedule, smaller schedule. Just depends how you want to look at it. So it's always fun to, okay, if there were notes, they would highlight the notes. You need to click on that one. So again, you can always toggle and see how you like your layout. It's an amazing thing to have a look at. Okay, I'm going to close my electronic review. All right, my client setup. Okay, so we're going to go into client setup quickly, and we're going to cover just a few of the little ones that I said I'd save for a later day or a rainy day. Unfortunately, I have a very sunny day, so it's not a rainy day for me. Okay. If I go to my financial years, so you can jump using the shortcut, financial years. So remember 2 by default, but we are in that lovely time of the year. And I do not mean this disrespectfully because I know how painful this time of the year is for all our accounting clients. Provisional tax, okay? So let's say for argument's sake, you have got to do a set of management accounts now to accurately calculate your provisional taxes, right? Well, I've got last year's file, I've rolled it over to 2025. I want to at least have what looks like almost a complete set of financials so I can accurately calculate some tax, as an example. Or the bank phone, they want management accounts for your client up to December. Okay, that's great. You've rolled over your file to 2025. Now, how can I get a set of management accounts that look pretty? You want them to look like 2024s and you want 2025s to look very pretty. So again, you won't want to change your year-end date over here. We have a few little buttons that will help you with that. So you'll see a reporting period, okay? I can go and I can change that to say 10 months, 11 months, whatever the case may be. But I've got a very special button over here called the financial period override. I tick that and it activates these 2 little blocks over here. So current year override, what current year override do I want to do? Well, I did say we're doing up till December. So I go and I select to say the end of December. And my prior year was obviously February 2024. So I'm just going to jump to 2024, find Feb And ultimately, what the outputs here is going to be is it's going to change my financial description as follows. Okay, if I had changed my period from 12 to 10, it would say for the 10-month period ended 31 December 2024. Have a look at the financials, you'd have a pretty cool set of management accounts. Okay, you didn't have to now go and change headings manually, try and manipulate. It's all sitting there in your client setup. You can tick and indicate that it's management accounts. And when the management accounts are no longer management accounts, what do? Tick a button, everything's back to normal. You've got a full set of financial statements. But here we've got our additional disclosures. So just in mind, had this question today, if you are still doing any entities, okay, and they are the PI score is below 100, you can toggle between IFRS for SME, basis of accounting. But I'd like to show off the layout. So balance sheet format, okay. If you happen to have an entity that would like their balance sheet in the order of liquidity, instead of having to now go to my balance sheet and basically try and cut and paste and manipulate the balance sheet to be in that order, we simply have a button for that. Okay, so all I have to do is just hop in here, look for balance sheet format, choose my order of liquidity, and wing bang bang, I'd have that on my balance sheet. I can also combine my accounting policies, okay? So here you'll see accounting policies, separate or combined. Which one do you need to report on? Well, you can have them separate, then you obviously have your accounting policies all in one place. If you say combined with notes, well, your PPE note would have the accounting policy above it, plus your PPE recon, there you go. Just a simple click of a button. Then under your visual, you'll see as well, I can go to capitalize my headings if I wanted to. I can go and swap out the brackets in my detailed income statement to show as positive if that's what your client prefers or if that's what your firm standard is. Again, it's honestly just clicks of little buttons. And if you know what the button is, then you can see. And the best way that I found figuring all of this out was just to click a button. So what does this button do? Check your financials. Ooh, okay, I like it. It's great. So we also have the option to print detailed lines. What are detailed lines? Well, my favorite example is investments in subsidiaries, joint ventures, and associates. You know, those lovely console files. Okay, so if I do happen to have all three of those, naturally on your balance sheet, it'll show investments in XXX and X, okay, and one line item. If for whatever reason you would like to show them separate, you tick the box and it will break it down in the balance sheet for you. Okay, again, you don't have to now try and insert rows and try and put it in and move the formula around so you can have that. The formatting is here for you to use it. Then I get to my favorites, SOCI and cash flow. So we have function and nature for SOCI. If you are doing IFRS 17, don't fear. If this was an IFRS file, you would have function, nature, and IFRS 17 layout. So there again, we're trying to just save you some time. You click a button, it gives you the output you're looking for. Super awesome. Okay, and same with your cash flow. If you ever wanted to know why it's indirect or why it's not direct, well, there we go. Client setup, indirect, direct, you get to choose, you get to have fun with it. Okay, all right. Now I'm going to focus on my working trial balance because there's some cool little things you can do in your working trial balance. Let's see. What are we doing? Okay, first things first. My dear old S Shine, the shareholder, right? Okay, so of course my 2023 financials have been signed off. And what do we know about signed off financials? They should never change when you're looking at your current year. Otherwise, restated financials. So, of course, we're looking at S Shine over here, and they have said to us, look, sorry, we're going to settle that loan this year. Okay, so you're like, okay, cool. That means it's a current now. Awesome. But I look at my linking and I see it's at the non-current, okay? Or it's at non-current, sorry. And I see, well, I can't change my prior disclosure in any way because I've signed off last year's financials. That's a no-no. We're not restating the financials. It was non-current last year, okay? So what would I do? Do I now have to go add a trial balance entry and then do a journal in the current year to move this to another entry so that I can disclose it as a current? Well, no, we're here to save the day. So I go to my S Shine, and I'm going to go to my double little sided arrow here. And all I'm going to do is click on it. And of course, it's going to pull up all those little links that we can choose from. So I'm looking specifically for my S Shine loan accounts, and I want the current. So I'm going to just type in S Shine. Okay. And what I notice, I've got my non-current version, I've got my current version. So I'm going to say, okay, well, for 2024, let's turn you into a current. But if I say select, okay, all my tax years will update. I don't want that because we are not changing my 2023 disclosure. So I want to say current only, okay? So I've selected my current. I'm going to say current only, and in a second it's going to update. Okay, let me just click, there we go. So now you'll see shareholders loan for the current year says C731. We go look at 2023. Gonna have a look, S Shine, ooh, still at non-current, woohoo, yay, okay. So I know for a fact 2023 hasn't changed, but I'm able to update my 2024. This could apply for any scenario whatsoever, okay. Something else I wanna highlight in your trial balance, okay, so template tools, did briefly touch on it. Of course, you can add links if you were busy linking and you ran out, okay? So simple case of add links, choose your financial data, select, and then you would go and then say, okay, I want to add my extra bank accounts or whatever change I want to. One thing to note, okay, if I do want to add any links, the right links here, okay, if I wanted to update any one of my links, okay, you'll see if I say apply all selected updates, it's going to give you a warning that it is going to update the financials. Now, it's only going to update the financials where the relevant link is applied, okay? You won't lose any work if you had done this while you're in the financial statements. It's just going to insert where this change is applicable. So I go and I say, okay, and as you can see, requires a management password purely because it's a structural change to your financial statements. So then, of course, manager can quickly log in, the update will apply, you'll have your additional links, no problem, okay? I'm not going to really add them to my file right now. Okay, then I want to show hyperlinks. So in a lot of cases, you know, some like to review their financial statements from a TB point of view. So I can actually go to hyperlinks. I can say show or hide. Okay, I don't have many documents in my file right now, but I will add to it later. So let's just say for argument's sake, I want to show the partner, you know, my hyperlink for shareholders loan. So I select which one I want to, and whatever lead it is, so there's 33, I can then go and just select my hyperlink by double clicking on it. Sorry, let me just go there. There we go. So I go to my lead ref where I want to hyperlink to. So there you see, I selected that cell. Double click on the actual document you want to link to. And then when you double click there, it'll open up the lead schedule for you. Okay, so really cool little trick in that sense from a trial balance point of view. I'll close the hyperlinks just by hiding it because I want to see the screen a bit more. And then of course, foreign currency translation. So what happens if the entity you are doing has foreign currency? Not a problem. You're going to come to foreign currency setup, choose the symbols, choose the descriptions. There you'll add your spot rates for average, or you'll add the rates for spot and average and current prior to save it and close. And then once that's done, I'm just not going to use it at the moment, you would then be able to toggle the foreign currency and it'll create you a FCTR reserve. Right. So those are what all of that means in the trial balance. Nice little shortcut in the terms of your lead reference. You can do the same with working papers. As long as the document is included in any one of these show or hides, you can hyperlink to the trial balance. Okay, let's look at my financials again. Right, journal entries. So if you all remember, on Tuesday, we did a journal. Okay, it was a tax journal. All right. You know what? My tax journal is fairly standard. So I can actually do one or two things from my journals. I can go and I can say, well, you know what, this journal, I actually want to copy to 2024. Okay. Maybe because it was a little bit longer and it's kind of standard or something like that. And I really want to use it. So I can go and I can come to here where you can see copy and move journals. So if I move it, it will take it out of the tax year I'm moving it from. Okay. So in other words, if I move it, I won't have the tax journal in 2023, which means my disclosures for 2023 changes. If I say copy, however, and I move it to the next tax year, you will see now 2024, I've got my basis of my journal. I've got the journal type, I've got the description, and I've got the accounts. What would I need to do here? Well, just simply update the tax amounts or whatever the amounts are. Again, just a little nifty trick to save you some time. Okay. Okay, let's go to our apps. Now, I'm going to go to my cover page. On my cover page, and I'm going to just use the cover page because it's kind of just a general one. Okay, this could apply anywhere throughout the financial statements. We have a feature called replicate cells. So in those instances where maybe one particular sentence is always the same in the exact same spot in your financials, such as who prepared the financials, for argument's sake, I can go, okay, so I've got my prepared by. I'm just going to clear it out for a second. Okay, I'm going to go to my template tools. Okay, let me log out quickly. Apologies. So in my template tools, okay, you will see an option here called replicate cells. Okay, when I say replicate cells, okay, I'm going to go and enter my name again. Okay, right. I choose to say this particular cell, which is G60, I want to replicate you. Okay, this requires a partner login because again, it's a structural change, okay, because it'll affect various amounts of files. And what it's going to ask me is, okay, well, where do you want this replication to go? So do you want to replicate to a specific file, okay? Or do you want to replicate to all your clients' templates IFRS SME? So again, I can choose whichever one I want. So I'm just going to replicate to a client that we'll hop into just now. So we'll add it to the holding company and we are going to replicate. Okay. And then it's going to say, are you sure you want to do it? Yes. And basically, cells have been replaced with what I've got in that sentence. Okay. When I'm done, I can close that. Happy days. Now, that'll just be a kind of a time saver if you have a particular sentence and it's identically in every single financial exactly where it is. So just to be careful with that feature. Remember, logins, great power, great responsibility. Okay, for that, I am now going to call in our lovely Anya. Now, Anya is basically what I like to say, our very own sunshine in human form. Some of you have possibly already met her in some of our training sessions that we've had, and she is now going to wow us with her snazzy tips and tricks. Anya, over to you.
Hi, Nicole. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction.
It's a pleasure. I'm going to stop sharing now.
Thank you so much. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. So let me get started. So the first thing I want to show you is I've got my director's report open. And you'll see my first heading here says review of activities and all things wonderful. Now that sounds a little funny to me. So this amazing function will allow me to either compare my financials to the financials I did in the prior year or to our template financials. So let me quickly show you how to do that. So under the template tools there on top, we've got a little compare option. So I'm just going to click on Compare Template Fs. Just going to close this section. So now you'll see on the left-hand side, I've got my financials I'm busy with. And then on the right-hand side, we've got the template financials. So if I click on the cell that I want to compare, it's just going to load and take me to that cell on the template as well. And here you'll see, let me close and make it a bit bigger. Now you'll see, oh, it actually should just say review of activities. And I might have been trying to be a little bit creative and it didn't work so well. So then you can go ahead and just untick compare to Fs. And you can either correct your formula or just refresh the row from templates to correct that. Another thing that I wanted to show you, so still on this same subject, I'm just going to move to the SOFP. So under my current assets section, you'll see I've got here amounts in line 77, loans to directors, managers, and employees. So what I wanted to check is how I presented this last year. So I might have forgotten, but I think last year it might have been split. I think there's a shareholder loan included in the cell. So let's go and do the same thing. Template tools, and instead of comparing it to the template Fs, I'm just going to compare it to my prior year financials. Close this one. Let's just go to the SOFP on the right-hand side. So the right-hand side is my prior year financials now. So here you can see, last year, instead of having it as one amount, it was actually split between loans to shareholder and then the loan to director. So this is so neat because in the past, I would actually open a new Draftworx file and or instance and go into the prior year just to go and check, or even open your PDF of last year to go check the differences. So this is going to save you a lot of time. So this leads me to my next thing I want to show you. I'm just going to untick the compare to Fs. Now we're just back to the normal screen. Okay, so now what we saw, we did see the issue. So we just have to correct the linking to move the shareholder's loan back to the position where it should be occupying. So instead of going back to the trial balance and changing the link and spending 5 minutes on that, we can do it much quicker. So first things first, I'm going to click on the cell here, loan to shareholder, where we want to split the amount to. So then we just have to read the formula there on top in the formula bar. And you'll see the formula refers to C.731. So guess what? Here we have to use that link if we want to switch or if we want to change the link. Okay, so let's do it. So we click on the cell that has the amounts where we want to split it. Now we just right click and you'll see there's a little drill down option. So now here we can see both the accounts, and I see the one below or the one above. Let me drag it a bit so that we can see the name better. It says loans to owners, and that is my shareholder's loan. So let's click on this little arrow just next to it. And here we are, all the links. Okay, so now we have to search for that link we saw in the formula bar, C.731. And here we've got a lot to choose from. Either one of them will correct this for us. I'm just going to select the first one. And you'll remember Nicole just showed us that there's a different option. So if we only wanted to change it for the current year, we would have selected current only. But obviously we want to change it for the prior year so that it matches our prior year. So I'm just going to say select. Drum roll. Let's see if it worked. Haha, there we are. It is split perfectly. And it's as easy as that. Didn't even open the trial balance. And that's it from me. Thank you so much.
Anya, you're awesome. Yeah, that's changing of the links from the drill down option is a really cool feature. Because again, it stops you from having to jump between working trial balance, look for it via filtering, go click a link. It's a really, really cool feature, as is the compare prior Fs. I mean, seriously, like, could we get anything even more cooler than that? Okay, let me share. Okay. Now, Noella did kind of go through an audit report or a report where you wanted to change your practitioner details. I do want to highlight, in some cases, we do get this question. So when you do have the independent auditor's report and you know what, you're getting externally audited, okay, and the auditor says to you, listen, I need 4 pages. You're like, oh, that's a lot of pages, buddy. So generally, our independent auditor's report is 2 pages. But you know what? We can always use just the audit report as a general basis. I can use it as a, a placeholder. But if you go down to the end of your audit report, you'll see, obviously, it's hidden. Remember, we said little light blue means bye-bye. It's not going to print. So I'm going to open this grouping, okay? And basically what this allows you to do is it creates blank pages for you to make use of. So you can always go and say to your auditors, okay, well, what audit am I? Was I qualified? Was I unqualified? You know, give me an idea. And they'll say, okay, you're unqualified. Cool, awesome. Keep that setting there. And then you'll see you can break it into a 2-page, a 3-page, and this just gives you the blank pages. Remember, you kind of want the audit report as a placeholder. Why? Because remember, our index kind of populates page numbers. Those page numbers feed into other documents, such as your response. So you'd at least want to at least have that as a placeholder, so your page numbers kind of match up to what they should. Okay, so that is just another feature that is great on that one. Okay, now we're going to get into some really cool things, hopefully. So sitting on the edges of your seats, hopefully you've got some coffee and cookies sitting by, you know, to keep you entertained. We're now going to have a look at the formulas. So what are the formulas? Well, they drive the financial statements. Okay, remember, trial balance is what makes our financial statements, but how do we actually link everything to our trial balance? Well, that's simple. We've got the formulas here. Okay, so I have logged in so that I can at least show you guys and break it down a bit. So we're going to have a look at my PPE. Okay, now you'll see here we've got equals sum if. So thanks to Shane and his wonderful Excel stuff, I knew what this meant when I started with Draftworx. Okay, so obviously sum if is going to, you know, look at a field, find what it needs to, return that value. Okay, so I'm breaking this down a little bit. So equals sum if, I start my formula. Now I'm looking for information. So what am I looking for? Well, I'm looking for a trial balance link because, you know, we want to make sure that the financials pull the information from the trial balance. And then I'm looking, okay, well, what link am I looking for? So you'll see, okay, I'm going to highlight this little section for us. So NA.0 question mark dot question mark. No, I'm not in a William Shakespeare play. The question marks are actually kind of there to indicate, again, my favorite word, placeholders. So if we're to break down our formulas and you searched in, so let's go search, okay? I'm going to go and search for NA.0, okay? NA.0 is a category we use for anything to do with property, plant, and equipment. Or, yeah, your fixed assets note. So it's got the land costs, the revaluation, the accumulated depreciations, okay? It's pulled in all that information. So what are we finding? We're basically saying to the system, I want you to pull for fixed assets, anything that starts with NA, the first number 0, and then you'll see here, land is 010. Do I want it to just pull in land? No. I want it to pull in the total assets. So I'm going to go and I'm going to say, okay, well, I want you to pull in everything from 0, like basically 000 to 09999, okay? So I'm pulling everything that is land all the way down to other fixed assets 3. So it's taking into account any possible link that is linked starting with NA.0. In other words, any one of my PPE, okay? If we go down one more, like let's say, your intangible assets. Intangible assets, we start with NA.2 and then 01 for this, 00 for that. So ideally, we're just wanting to group whatever category, pull in everything that's assigned to that link so that you get the total value of this category. Okay. Now, the same kind of goes for your income statements. So there you'll see in revenue, okay, quite a detailed formula. So again, sum if TB link I dot question mark. So I don't start with an I.0, I don't start with an I1. In the case of like stuff like revenue, we've got how many categories of revenue. So we want to bring in every single stream. So we go and we say I dot triple question mark, dot triple question mark, and then it'll pull all that information into one cell for you. Now I'm going to do a little bit of stuff I shouldn't be doing, okay? So remember, password, power, responsibility, okay? So I'm going to be a little bit naughty, and I'm going to say, you know what? Oops, there. I'm going to make my PPE 850,000. I'm going to go and write over this one as well. Whoopsie. Okay. I'm going to pretend I'm just going to ignore that stuff so no one can see it. Just like, not my problem. Okay. I'm busy breaking my financials. Okay. Now, someone comes along and they say to me, Nicole, what cookies were you eating? This is like not balancing to your notes. You're like, I may have accidentally done that and I don't know how to fix it. Okay, so you're like, oh dear. All right. So what would be your first caller point? Well, you could be like, well, I can call on support. Okay, so that actually brings me to our phenomenal support team. Firstly, let me just actually give them a massive shout out, right, to our lovely support team. You guys are absolute rock stars. Thank you always for your speedy responses. I know in our demos and our training, we give you a little bit of a headache, but that's because I always give you some really odd questions. And the amazing thing is the response you see. Like we get 5 of you answering a question. It's awesome, okay? But not only that, you do it to the clients and it's great. And the passion you show us, it's just absolutely, awesome to see. And you guys smash it day in, day out. Yeah, big heads up to our support team. Like, you guys are getting lots and lots of hearts, by the way. Just a heads up there. Okay, so now how do I actually get a hold of our support team? Well, there's a few ways. You can call the call center, you can email support@draftworx.com. Maybe I've really savagely broken my file and I can go to my Draftworx logo and I say support request. So I can email a support request and I can type my issue and I'll be like, I was a naughty person and I went and broke the file. Please help me, save me. I don't want to get fired. Okay, awesome. And then you'd book out the support file. When you do this, I would just like to inform you that it does lock your file on your side, okay? Why are we locking it on your side? Simply put, just to save you from you going and doing any extra work. And then when we give you back your file, we replace all that lovely hard work you've done, which we would not like to do. So we do just temporarily lock it until you receive the support request back, okay? But I've got my very mean manager sitting on my head, literally, and they're saying to me, why did you break this? The client's going to be here in a minute. Fix it now. And you're like, okay, I'm going to do it now. So you go to remote support. Okay, remote support is awesome. Okay, I'm going to launch my remote support. Okay, and there is normally a pop-up. We are not going to change or make any changes to your computer. We literally just want to chat to you guys. And you can see 8 to 5 Central Africa time, Mondays to Fridays. Now, what you'll note is the session code normally automatically updates. Okay, if you're having any issues with that, please, by all means, don't stress. Okay, you can ask support to assist. We'll tell you how to get that back. My name, I'm going to go with S Shine. Okay, so I'm the director and I'm going to fix what I broke. So I'm going to chat to them. Okay, also your name normally is linked to your license. If you want to update it to your nickname, by all means, it's just nice to have a name to talk to so we can greet you and say, hey, Nicole, how you doing? Things like that. So go and I'm going to chat to them. There's my TeamViewer chat. And let's see, am I going to give them too much of a headache today? No, we're just going to go say, hey, I think I broke my notes. As you can see, these are not AI responses. Our support team are very much human beings. We love our coffee. Some of us love the cookies more than the coffee. And different smiley faces indicates you are speaking to some amazing human being on the other side. So Right. So again, if you hadn't fixed it, okay, obviously I didn't break it just yet, they would join you online, they will chat to you, they're amazing people. Please, massive shout out to them. So I'm going to end that chat, give them less headaches. I always give them headaches. Sorry, guys. And now we're going to see, okay, maybe I don't need support at this point. I have broken my file, but I remember I'm in a plus file. And Nicole said I have more power and freedom to do things myself. So I'm going to go to template tools. And in template tools, okay, there is a refresh rows from template. Anya did show. So I'm just going to quickly, select the two oopsies I went and overwrote, and I'm going to refresh them from my template. What it basically is going to do, this is going to restore my formula for me. Yay! I'm not getting fired. Okay, great stuff. Awesome. But what happens if I'm really I don't know, my keyboard got possessed by my cat and somehow managed to wipe out everything? Okay. Now I have a really broken file and my cat is like just living the best life because it's like, haha, fix that. So you're like, you know what, cat, I've got you. So again, in your template tools, we do have a feature called import sheets from template. Now, a word of caution, this is generally kind of hopefully the last resort, okay? Especially if you've gone and customized your notes, okay? Because when I do this following action, it is going to pull in the default sheet, whether it's SOFP, whether it's cash flow, whether it's notes. So it's going to replace the whole thing to its original format, okay? So if you do have a really big boo-boo, by all means, hop on, chat to support. They will give you the best solution possible. Alternatively, if it was just this little boo-boo that we did, thanks to the cat, I'm going to go and I'm going to import the sheet from template, okay? And now you'll see it gives me all my sheets options. So on my balance sheet, my manager's literally walking through the door, the sweat is pouring down my face because I'm like, I don't want to show you my broken apps. Quickly click SOFP, click select. Manager's like, how are you doing? You're like, I'm doing so great. How are you? Because there I've got a fixed set of balance sheets. And again, if I scroll down, my balance sheet is clearly in its entirety. There's no out of balance. And you're like, oh, saved by the bell. Okay. Another thing I'd like to show, I'm going to do it in a different file, and it still sits on this whole import option. Just want to get into my 2025 file. Okay. That import sheets that we showed obviously pulls through from your original template. Okay. But I have another thing that I do. Now, I've got a particular client, okay, and their accounting policies I've set up, but I've got their sister company that I also want the accounting policies to look the same, okay? So instead of me having to now open two instances, copy, paste, insert, 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 well, okay, what we're going to see is I'm just going to import a new accounting policies from an existing file. So in my content, I go to import worksheets. Okay, I'm going to pull up, obviously I'm currently in my 2025 Sunshine file. I'm going to go to the sister company file that I want to import from. So there's my accounting policy file that I've used. I go look for financial data, go to Draftworx files, and I want to pull something from my financial statements. So I open. Okay. So again, it's going to kind of give you that interface we just saw earlier. So I go down, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. I see the accounting policies. Okay. And I'm going to select. And there we go. I've now pulled in my accounting policies from another file. So I didn't have to specifically go and insert the rows, copy from one, paste into another. Simply just use that feature. I just want to quickly say thank you to our dynamic duo again, Clarissa, Michelle, for handling all the questions on the sideline. You guys are awesome. Thank you very much. Okay, let us proceed. Hopefully everyone had a good leg stretch, maybe a 15-minute dance it out, whatever it is. Hopefully you're ready for the next session. Let's get started. Now, what I want to try and show off is a few things that I like to see. Mostly these come from questions during demos, training, whatever the case may be, and I find them rather useful. So one thing you do want to see is, I know I've been in practice, you get one computer screen or, and you're trying to see two things at the same time. So it's nice to know that we are able to float your financial statements. So I can go and I can click on my financials. Okay, so I right click on the IFRS SME Plus financials. Okay, now you can see I've got the options to float to a new window, close. And if I close there, I'm not going to save it. Okay, and also again, close without save. So float to a new window. Right. Now, obviously, I can't show the duality of it because maybe, yes, I do have two screens. So I could put this onto another screen, completely hide it, so that I'm looking at my trial balance on one screen, got my financials on the other. Sorry, it is a little bit squishy because we can't see it on the other side. So yeah, I'd be able to compare my trial balance, have it open at one point, or have working papers open at one point and check the financials instead of having to toggle and jump between the different tabs. Okay, when I do want to put it back, I can just right click, well, I can just right click on the financials again and go and say dock it back to my file. Okay, sorry, I saw please do that again, so I will just run through that again. So on the tab that you want to float so that you can move it to another screen while working on another section, instead of having to go working trial balance, financials, jump back and forth, right click, go to float to a new window. It'll give you the option there. You can go, you can work on the file. Okay. When you want to put it back in, just right click, dock to where it goes, and now it's back in the file. Okay, it's just another alternative viewpoint that you can have a look at. Cool. Now we're going to build our own note. So my dear manager that was sitting on my head said to me, Nicole, really, can you focus? I need this note. I asked you for it. And you're like, but I can't find it in the financials. So you know what? That's okay. You can build your own note. You can customize your own note, okay? I mean, you can even add a table if you really wanted to. So in my case, I have a look. So remember, we've got notes, notes 2, notes 3. I do have an additional note 1 and note 2 that's sitting here. So I'm going to open additional note 1, okay? Wrong note, additional note 1, okay? See, I've got a little bit of an option here. So if it's too small, I can obviously select cells, go insert the sheet rows, make it larger, okay? I can go to give it a heading. Okay, so I'm going to break down repairs as an example. And then, of course, I can go and detail, right? I'm not going to go into too much detail because I don't want to bore you with unnecessary extra long names, okay? If I wanted to build a table per se, I can select cells, go to cell border, choose your borders. There, I've now kind of almost built a table. Again, same story, cell border, can add a border. If I wanted to wrap the text or merge it, okay, sorry, looking for the word merge, I can then go and say merge and center, and I can say, woohoo. Yeah, really obviously not the best table in the world, just purely illustrative reasons. But now, building a note requires figures. So you're looking at your trial balance, okay, it was 150, 200, great. That's not what we're about, is it? Okay, obviously, if the amounts are not on your trial balance, yes, this would be manual inputs, okay? However, in my particular case, my repairs, okay, I've got amounts on my trial balance, so how do I get it to link? So if we go back, yeah, okay, we had the whole equal sum FTB link. It's a really long formula to figure out and try and work out. But we have a shortcut, don't we? Because we are. It's awesome. So I love this one. Go to design. Okay. Now, in design, you are now basically the artist of your financial statements. You have the power, okay? So what are we going to do with this lovely power we have? Well, we're going to make our financials look so cool right now. So I'm going to go to my design. I've got trial balance values. And you can see I've got quite a few options here, okay? So I've got trial balance values. And I'm going to select final, Okay, I'm in my current year. How do I know I'm in my current year column? So I'm just going to scroll up a little bit just to go to the headings. So column L is 2024. So I know I'm in my current year. That's where I want my figures to go. Okay, so let's go back to my note. Right. Now I'm going to say, okay, what do I do? So I go to my trial balance values. I see final. I select it. What this does is it's going to pull your trial balance in as the shortcut for you, okay? Now you can go and you can have a look. Okay, well, awesome. There's my repairs and maintenance. I'm going to pull that one in. I'm going to select it. Go back to our final. Let's go do the second one. And you know what? For whatever reason, C was the sum of the balance. So how do I select more than one at a time? So again, trial balance values, final, and I'm going to go and I'm going to just hold in control and select the other three. There we go. So yeah, you can see I've got a nice little formula. It's going to pull in those amounts. So in the event, because this is bound to happen 98% of the time, we'll just give everyone the benefit of the doubt. A journal will happen, a client will change an amount on a trial balance. You know how it goes. I forgot to put this entry in and you got and built this beautiful note. Mine looks not so beautiful, but yours would look absolutely amazing. And you need the figures to update. So this ensures your figures are constantly updated and match your trial balance. So you don't have to now go and be like, oh, where did I build that note? What did I manually put in? Obviously, if the information is not on your trial balance, okay, I can't directly link to a TB link. The other option that we do have is maybe it's a category of links. So here you'll see link numbers. I can go and I can say final, and then I can pull in a category of a link, okay? So it's just another way of building your note. And that's the difference between trial balance values, link numbers. Awesome. I'm now going to say, all right, okay, let me auto sum this. Okay, so I can auto sum, I can average, you know, we've got some functions here, show all functions, but I want to auto sum. Looks a little bit bland, so we're going to go bold it. We're going to give it a bit of a border because I want it to match the above note. But as hard as I'm trying, it's not matching the above note. It looks a bit wonky. Like all the zeros are there, this is there, there's no comma. What do I do? So in the event that you are creating your own note, we have got an option where you can just select all your cells. You can go to Format Cells, and you'll see we've got all the different formats, okay? But I'm interested in one particular format, Draftworx. Haha, now it's looking a little bit prettier. Yay! Okay, because we support quite a lot of formulas, I can go and I can say Control and C, and I can say Control and V. Move my note across. I didn't have to go now select all the items because this could be a really long note, okay? Now, but Nicole, it's like the same figures. What do you do? It's okay. We have a solution for you. So if you remember the formulas, okay, final means I'm pulling the figures from my final information, i.e. my current year. So these are my 2024 figures. I want this to be my prior figures, 2023 figures. What am I going to do? So I select them and I go to this developer formatting tab and I see I've got a year plus and a year minus. So all I'm going to say is year minus. And all it's going to do is change my formula to say final versus prior one. I've now built a thing. I could even go one step further if I had 3 years, copy it, and then again, subtract a year, and you've got like a 3-year comparison. Okay, so something cool to play around with. Again, use it accordingly. Okay. Now, I want to add something to my note. You know, I want to refer it back to something. So I'm going to build us a little bit of I want to reference to, say, what note are we going to reference to? For argument's sake, we're going to reference to income tax paid. Don't know why, really poor looking note this one, but the theory is here. So I'm going to say equals because I'm starting a formula. But now because I'm going to merge a bit of information in here, I'm going to have text and I'm going to link it to something so it automates. Because, I mean, I can go and say refer to note 21. but then something happens. And now I have to come back and I'm like, I'm referring to the same note. So again, I have to refer to note 20. Okay. So now I'm like, what do I do? Okay. So how do I automate it so that I don't have to keep changing that wording? So I open back my income tax. So I have my note number. Okay. So I'm going to automate this. I'm going to say equals. Okay. Starting a formula. I'm going to open my formula because I'm including text, the little double apostrophe things. Can't remember what they're called, but I like to call them the double apostrophes. So refer to note, give it a bit of a space. I'm going to close my text that I'm including, and I'm going to use the and sign. Okay, and I've got a way of doing this. I can either just go click on the note cell that I'm looking for. Okay, there, 21. Okay. Now you'll see it says refer to note 21. So if anything happened, like I opened up dividends paid now, I'm still referring to note 22, which is what I want, that automation. Okay. There is another way to improve and build on this one. So another thing that you can look at is if you have a look at note 21 for argument's sake, you will see in this little square here, I've got a name and it says note num income tax. Okay, so I can then go and I can say, well, I can insert and I can refer it to my heading. So sorry, let me just escape and copy. I'm going to copy this, I'm going to paste it. Okay, now instead of referring it to a cell, I'm going to go to where my note number name range is. We call this a name range. And I'm just simply going to go and add it in over here. Now, instead of it referring to a cell and I go and insert things and like as you saw, my formula comes up, I can also refer it to a named range. So lots of little unique customization tools await you. Lots of practice. Sometimes it took me a while to get this back when it started. So it does take a little bit of practice, but you can always copy the formula, work it through, chat to the support team. They'll happily show you how to, auto number it. Okay. That is a great way to build a note. But you know what? I can't have repairs as note number 22. I need it actually to be note 21. Now what do I do? Does that mean I have to go insert rows, cut, paste, copy? Oh, I've made a mistake. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Haha, don't worry. If there's at any point in time you want to reorder your notes for whatever reason, or move something up, move something down, go to design. There's a lovely feature here called move up, move down. So I want repairs to be note number 21, okay? So I'm going to move it up. And as you see, I move it up. I've now changed repairs to be above income tax paid. Okay, so as you'll note, because I made a reference to a direct cell, it's not pulling that number through anymore. But if I'd used the named range, I can at least have it automated. It's a nice little cool trick over there. Okay, now my manager says to me, Nicole, really, can you check this out? We're supposed to have 2 income statements. I've only got 1 detailed income statement. What happens if I need to make a change? So in my working trial balance, you'll note type. We have income statement, we have balance sheet. So for whatever reason, my sales goods need to be on income statement 2. Maybe I'm a garage, okay, and I'm showing my fuel on one income statement and I'm showing the shop turnovers on the other statement. How would I, distinguish that? Okay, so I am actually just going to save my financial statements quickly. Okay, just so that when I open it, it instantly refreshes. So sales goods, I'm going to go and say, you know what? Let's put you on income statement 2. Let's go and throw the cookies onto income statement 2. Shame. And now I am able to select multiple statements. You will see the drop down does give you up to 5. You can increase it, okay? It does just require a login, and you can increase it, I think, up to 99. Don't know why we would want 99. Maybe you have a lot of information you'd like to disclose. But again, possibilities, endless, you get to choose. So there we go. I've now gone and I've indicated on my trial balance 2 income statements. Open my financial statements and something different's going to pop in now. Then we're going to get to some more exciting things. Okay, now you'll see detailed income statement. That is the summary of the total of my entity, right? But look and lo behold, I see a detailed income statement 1. Okay, so there's my normal detailed income statement. And there I've now moved my cookies to my other section. So of course, detailed income statement 2 isn't quite descriptive enough for me. So on my index, okay, I can come here and I can explain, okay, this was detailed income statement shop, and then this was detailed income statement Cookie Monster. Yeah, because we moved cookies there, makes sense. Okay, there we go. Hey, presto, heading's been updated. I know which income statement I'm looking at. Awesome. Right, now I'm going to bring us into some really cool things. So Office tools I touched briefly on, I think I just mentioned it, but you'll see a few things here. Okay, I can import a file. Okay, so I'm going to import a specific file just for us to show something in our previews. So I'm going to import my audit report. So remember earlier I said audit report can sometimes be a placeholder. So mine was a placeholder. I'm going to pull in my imported audit report. So I'm going to open and I'm going to save it with my financial statement. So you'll see it gives me options to where to save it. So if it was a working paper, you can save it in working papers. I'm going to just save mine in financial data and I'm going to import the file. Okay, that's one way to import. Another way to import is, let me just open the folder on my side. Okay, so I can naturally, obviously on an audit side, because I was in your guys' shoes, you know, you do the auditing or you have a ton of documents that you need to pull in. So importing one by one seems a bit time consuming. I can go and I can say, okay, well, you know what? I'm just going to pull in my bank statement and my fixed asset register. Okay, I'm sorry, it's a little bit of documents, but you get the idea. You basically control select everything you want to kind of pull into your working papers. So maybe it's one complete section. I don't know. Depends what you want to pull in. Select it, and I can simply go and drag and drop into working papers. Okay, now I'm going to open my working papers, and you will see I've got 2 little folders. So there I have a bank statement. Cool. There I have a fixed asset register. Awesome. Okay. Now, one last way to do this would be Office tools. And I just want to highlight this because it's sometimes missed. If I go and I say spreadsheet, and I have an existing file that I am using. Okay, so I know it's a bit repetitive. I'm going to use the fixed asset. Apologies. Okay, you'll notice that at the top here, it's got save as. All right, so if you are utilizing the spreadsheet option here, please just remember that you do need to give whatever document you are pulling in a name. So in my case, it would be fixed asset register 2024. And I need to tell it, well, please go save it either in working papers, reports, documents, or wherever you wanted it to save so that it pops into your database. Okay, just as a tip from my side. Now I'm going to do something even more cool. So I'm going to create a smart doc. So I've got my fixed asset register, I've got my financials. Okay, now we're going to take away my 350. Okay. I want this cell to actually read from my fixed asset register so that in the event I am updating this fixed asset register in my file, my financials will also automatically update. So click on the cell and I'm going to go to, design. Okay, I'm going to go to design and I've got to create smart doc range. Okay. So in this edition, I'm going to just do my land. So I'm going to select the cell. There's my 350. Okay. Obviously, if you've got a long list, choose the total. Okay. So create smart doc and I'm going to give it a name. So I'm going to go land add. Hopefully I'm spelling okay. Right. Cool. And I say okay. Created a smart doc. You can see says Smart Source, Land Additions. Awesome. How does that help me? Because now go to my financials. I still don't have my 350 there. Okay. So again, design. You're going to select the Smart Doc. So go look. Okay. So here's a whole list of Smart Docs that I do have. Well, I see there Land Additions. So I'm going to simply select it. So there it's 350. Now, obviously, what happens if I change it to 450? Look at that. Updates it. Awesome. Happy days. Okay, it shouldn't be 450 because then I'm going to be out of balance. So I'm going to change it back to 350. And there's my financials. So I can do that within the system. Okay. All right. Now I have an even better one to show you. So let's say you are part of the auditing team, or you actually just would really like a working paper where you can see who's created it, who's signed it off. So on the right-hand side, you can see I've got working paper, and I'm going to create a working paper. We did that tax journal, for example. So I want to basically create that as a supporting document, maybe. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to call it tax journal working paper, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to save it in my working papers, and I'm going to create the working paper. Okay. What you'll see is it'll give you kind of a Draftworx feel about it. It's got a title. You can see now if I go and mark off as prepared, it'll mark it as prepared, manage it reviewed, partnered reviewed. Awesome. Give it a title. We're going to go and say tax journal, etc. Okay. Right. Here comes the wow factor. Okay. Right. As soon as my screen lets me do it, I'll just minimize there. Okay. So what I want to do is, okay, now it's open, I can see it. Okay. All right. What I want to do is I go to template tools, and I've got this thing here that says journals, and I see a journal link. So what is this? Well, let's click it and see what happens. Again, what does this button do? Well, this is what this button does. Click on journal link. It's going to pull up your list of journals that you may have processed, okay? So for whatever reason you want to make reference to this, okay, you are able to. Okay, now I'm going to go and I am going to select the relevant journal that I'm wanting to use, okay? And all I say is select. Okay. What it's now gone and done is it's pulled in my journal. Okay. Oh, I don't have any figures in my 2024 journal. Let me quickly just update that. Right. So now I can see, okay, there's my 10,000. There's my negative 10,000. Okay. I can obviously set it up as to how I'd like it to be set. Okay. Now, if I'm a partner and I'm reviewing and I see, you know what, Nicole, you made a really big mistake here. The journal shouldn't have been 10,000, it should have been 20. From this working paper, I can go and I can update the amount. And if I go to my journal entries, the amount will also update. Okay, works vice versa. I can update it here. It'll update to my journal entry over there. Okay. And then, of course, that will save. So nice little nifty trick in that sense. Okay. Now we're going to go into the preview. Okay, so let me close all my extra tabs so it's not too cluttered for you guys. Just want to log out and do my financials. Okay, so as you see, we've still got our preview that we had. So I just want to highlight a few things within my preview, okay? During all of this, I did create a certain note that I want to highlight. So as you can see, I had a color added to it. I've got a cool looking table, very bright, very colorful. Don't know what value it has in my financial statement, but it's there, okay? Again, obviously, you can choose your selected sheets. Now I want to kind of show off a little bit in the preview. So early on, I did pull in that audit report, okay? There's a tab here called inserts. Okay, what is inserts? Well, simply inserts is this. I can go and I can insert the document and either replace the existing document that's in my file, or I can add a document to a file. Purely depends entirely on what purpose your insert, needs. So in my particular case, got an independent auditor's review, report, okay, and I want to replace it with the one from my auditor. So go to inserts, I see report audit, okay, I see 3 little dots on the screen here. If I click those 3 little dots, it's going to pull up any possible PDF file that I have. So I'm going to select it. Okay, so I want my audit report. Note it has to be a PDF. And I'm going to select. And nothing's really happened. So, okay, but I need to give it an action. So you'll see there's an action column here. And I see none. So I haven't given it an action. I can prepend, i.e. put the document before something. I can replace, in other words, replace it, or I can append, which I will do with another document in a second, and that would be put it at the end. So I'm going to replace my audit report. And when I do, and I go to my audit report, you will see that it kind of overrides the whole thing. So congratulations, you survived the audit, what most clients love to hear. And then, of course, you can include your signature. It kind of just gives you all a place. So you can use this on the director's responsibilities and approval. Instead of having to do PDF merging, because the clients will send you a PDF document that's signed, and then you've got to try and merge everything. You can just use this as a feature, okay? Congratulations, guys. You did survive the audit. Well done. You've made the webinar so far, okay? Also, I did mention I can add a document. So sometimes you get schedules. Some of the farmers like their fixed asset registers at the end of their financials. I don't know. It could be any schedule whatsoever they want to add. So tax calc in my case is obviously the last document. You can see I'm on page 27. Well, I'm going to choose something. You have my bank statement in, but it's fine. And I'm going to say, well, let's add it to the end. And you know what? When I do, and it's a completely separate document, you'll see that it's got it, but I don't have a footer or a page number or anything like that. It's fine. I can just go to footer, tick it. And now I've got my page number. Looks like it all came from the same document. High five to me. Yay. Okay. In the print preview, okay, I just want to highlight a share settings option over here. Okay. So you can obviously have your firm preview options saved somewhere. So I just need to log in as a partner for this. Okay. So let's say ideally this set of financials that we've done, I'm happy with what my letterheads look like, okay, where my logos are. I'm happy with which pages don't have your headers or any weird little settings like that. And I want it to kind of go across the board. So I get a new employee and they need those settings applied to their computer. So you can go to the share settings and you can see, okay, well, I'm happy with these settings. I'm going to save it to the cloud. And then when I'm on my new employee's computer, I would then load it from the cloud. And the same goes for your firm letterheads. It's just a case of additional options that are available to you as firms where you can ensure that everyone kind of has the same features going forward. Awesome. Okay, those are those share settings. Alrighty. Now there is something I wanted to show you, and it's quite a cool thing. And credits to the guys for creating this. It's an awesome feature. Credits to one of my colleagues, Christo, for highlighting this to me the other day to show me this really cool feature. So in my notes, okay, I'm having a look at this note. Sorry, where's my how to continue what's going on? Sorry, just want to jump to it. So I have a look here. My note 15 is on a new page. Because it's a table, it kind of wants it to go with the flow. But man, am I wasting some trees. Because, I mean, I've got a whole half a page there. So I decide, you know what? I want to move this up a little bit. But if I do that, I kind of then have a split between the page. So it would break up my table, okay? I want this to kind of continue and go with flow. So ideally, and I'll do it, so just so you can see it. So I'm just going to quickly go to that note. Okay. So if I were to insert a page break, so I think I'm going to break it at 10, go to print layout, insert a page break. You ever see that lovely lime green? It indicates it's a manual page break. Okay. We jump across to my preview, have a look at my note, and okay, great. I'm not killing trees, no excess space here, but now my note doesn't make much sense. Okay, it says how to continue a note header, but what exactly was this column and what exactly are the columns that follow it? I would kind of at least like details, table A and B, etc. to kind of follow through, right? Okay, so I have to go to the note, and effectively this is my table heading. Okay, so I'm now going to create a named range. Okay, so I am going to go to my heading, I am going to go to developer, and I'm going to say create named range. Okay, and I'm in column B, and I'm going to give it a heading, and it's going to be table. We'll go lucky number 7. You can call it any number you want to. I'm just going with lucky number 7. Repeat header. Okay. Cool. I say okay. Now you'll see in that particular cell, I've given it a named range. But I need to now tell it, all right, well, what is my table? So I go and I select the body of the heading. So remember, heading, anything below it, body. So I go and I say, okay, well, this is the body of my note. And again, create a named range. And I'm going to call it table 7. I'm going to go to my preview options. And one thing you would like to have on your notes sheet in your preview is the content continued headers ticked. Okay. Let's go and see my how to continue a note now. So there we go. I've got details, my table, and hey presto, I have a heading. Yay! So in the event that you do have those very lovely long tables and you'd like to break it up, there we go. Just ensure you've got your content continued headers and those specific name ranges. I understand we are in a webinar and maybe those named ranges will escape. Just ask us on support and we'll happily show you how to do that formatting. Okay, cool. That brings me to the end of this file. I'm going to now switch it up a little bit and explain a few other features. So we are doing great today for timing. Hopefully not everyone's, falling off their chairs. So let's have a look. Now, remember we said we can save. I can close to indicate as confirm saves and say yes. And just keep in mind of the autosave feature, just in case anyone missed it on Tuesday. So autosave documents, I go to my logo, I scroll down, and ultimately whatever's happening is every 15 minutes, we are running an autosave. So if I have a malfunction, i.e. my computer just decides to turn itself off mid-note build like we were building, and you panic because you can't remember the last time you saved, well, don't fear. The most work you may lose is 15 minutes, okay? So then I can always come back, have a look at what my preview is. So if I had a look at the 15.06.1 preview, I check it out, not quite finished, I don't have my refer to note there. Okay, let's go have a look at the latest one, 15.27 preview, and there I can see, okay, I'd split my note. That was pretty much the last thing I recall doing. I can recover it, happy days. As a tip, if you ever do open your financial statements and it's either blank or something, close them immediately, and then we can try and see if we can recover autosaves from that point of view. Okay. Now, in the event that you do your PIS score, you got a client set up, and you know what? My client has now gone from IFRS SME to full IFRS. They've met that, 20 million turnover or whatever quota, and their PI score is now 300, and you're like, oh no, I'm on IFRS SME. What do I do? Because I've done quite a lot of work in my trial balance. These are guys that have like 1,000 line items and stuff like that. Well, it's okay. right? Let me close my trial balance. So in client setup, you do have the option to switch framework, okay? As a general tip or general warning, if you're switching frameworks, you are effectively giving yourself a new set of financials. Okay, if I switch from IFRS SME Plus to full IFRS, okay, you can see I could go switch, it'll give me all the options. This will give me a new set of financials, but my client setup information would stay there. The trial balance would do most of the conversions, no problem. Okay, but just keep in mind, if you switch it, you have to redo the financials. Okay, so very crucial on that. Same kind of goes for working papers. If you want to switch or add working papers, maybe I was in such a rush and I forgot to add working papers to my file, that's fine. Don't stress. You may be halfway through your file, that's okay. You can come to switch framework and working papers and you can add them at any point in time. Okay, right, so you don't have to panic. It will be an option there, okay. Right, I am now going to jump across to the screen. And we're going to talk a little bit about consolidations. Okay, very simple consoli, right? So have an entity. As we can see, I've got a holding company and I've got subsidiary 1 and subsidiary 2. I now need to consolidate them. So remember the financials that we're looking at currently, IFRS SME Plus, IFRS SME Plus, okay? That means I've got current year, prior year, but I need the template that shows me group and company columns. So now I need to go and create myself a consolidation. So consolidation file. Okay, what year am I busy with? 2024. So 12 months. What's my framework going to be in this instance? Am I going to choose IFRS SME? No, I'm going to go down a little bit and I'm going to see IFRS SME plus consoli. Okay, I'm going to press enter. Okay. Now, of course, creating your consolidation file, you know, you'd still go set up your client setup, but now we're going to get to the working trial balance. Okay, so do I now have to go through and import each different entity? Trial balance? Well, not necessarily, because we have a beautiful button called consolidate. So I'm going to click on consolidate. And when I do, it's going to give me my whole list of my clients, whether they're on the local, whether they're on the remote, or even on my WebSync. Okay, I'd obviously have to log in. I'm going to log in on that one. Okay. All right. So local clients, I now know that they are all there. So what am I consolidating? Well, my holding company. And when you select the company, you'll see a pop-up kind of gives you a pop-up. And it says holding company, subsidiary 1 up to subsidiary 20, sub-subsidiaries, divisions. Okay. So what am I choosing? Well, I need to indicate who is the holding company. So I go and I say holding company. Contribution over here is not to be mistaken with the issued capital or the members' contribution. It's the actual contribution of the holding company. Do I have 100%? Do I have 90%? Do I have 80%? And so forth, okay? So that's what that percentage is. Then I'm going to go subsidiary 1, okay? And I can go subsidiary 2, great stuff. Now I want to consolidate, okay? Now it's going to give me some more options. So I can include the prior year. So maybe this is my first year of consolidating. Go include the prior year, include prior to. I need to just select it. I can say monthly management accounts. So you can do this on a monthly set of financials, okay? And you can also update your links of existing accounts so that they all match, okay? I'm just going to include my prior year and I'm going to say consolidate. Okay. Right. Just to show, I am still in my consolidation file, okay? And there you'll see, it's pulled in the trial balance from my holding company, okay? So again, I can use my filter and I can go holding, holding. There's my trial balance from my holding. It's indicating it's an age. And my opening balance figures are my final figures from my separate file, i.e. holding company. Clear the filter. You can see I've got subsidiary 1, also all my information in, and subsidiary 2, all my information in. Great. The opening balance figures that it has pulled in is the final figures, i.e. 2024 final in the separate files. So holding company, the 2050 is my 2024 final figure. Any journals I process to this trial balance will affect my financials at a group level, not my standalone files, not the holding files. So if I need to maybe process a journal in a subsidiary file or the holding file, I can again come back to consolidate. And now you can see I can go and I can say, well, refresh the opening balances so that it can pull in those journals that you had processed in the standalone files. If you're using monthly, refresh the monthly. If you want to refresh link numbers, you can refresh link numbers. Okay. So again, you don't have to now go consolidate each and every time. You can actually just refresh from the files. Okay. And then I go and I open my financials and you'll see it says IFRS SME plus consolidation. Don't know what these consoles will look like. Probably not balancing. But if I go look at my balance sheet now, I've got my 2 group columns, I've got my 2 company columns, and they've consolidated. Yes, I would need to go update the notes and the cash flow with any changes that I did in the standalone files. We literally just pull in the information from the trial balance. You still need to obviously go to the notes and pull in the additions. We don't pull that directly from the files. Okay, and then that is our consolidations. Okay. All right. And that kind of just brings me to the end of what I was going to showcase for today. Are there any questions that someone wanted covered specifically? Clarissa, Michelle?
Hi, Nicole. Yes, there's just something I want to quickly point out. So we've had quite a lot of questions with regards to the working papers, the legacy
Okay.
working papers that we're discontinuing. Yeah, so we're having a lot of questions on that. So if you can just show the users which working papers are discontinued and what to do when you roll forward from a legacy working paper file, please.
Okay. So thanks, Michelle. Okay. So this was going to be, or is still going to be covered in the working paper seminar on the 28th of January, but let me explain it over here. Okay. So in the working papers, what you'll notice on my file is I've only got accounting officer plus, agreed upon procedures, audit exempt, compilation, legal practitioner, property practitioner, rack and review. Okay. When you're rolling over any of your legacy files that had the legacy, what was it? Accounting officer report or the legacy compilation report, the only thing that's going to happen is the following. It's just asking you to please choose a new working paper, i.e. compilation plus or accounting officer plus. Your legacy file will still be able to roll forward. Okay, we're just discontinuing those legacy working papers. So you will just update to the new plus ones. You won't lose your legacy work. You can still roll the file forward. It's just that they're not available as a new selection under working papers. Is that okay, Michelle? I just don't have a legacy file to show off quickly.
Okay,
so I
no
can't.
problem. Thank you so much. Johanna is just asking, she just wants to see again how to add in extra detailed income statements. If you can
Sure.
quickly show us that again. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Let's just jump into a file that's not completely broken. Okay. Okay, so righty. Okay, so let's now say for whatever reason I need to add more additional income statements. So remember, when you're adding your multiple income statements or additional income statements, we do it at the trial balance level. I realize my camera is still on, so I'm going to do that. Okay. So basically what you're looking at is you need to do it from your trial balance. So in the type column, if I click on any of these income statements, there's a drop down, income statement 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. There I can go and I can choose income statement 3. And the minute I do, and I open my financial statements, I will now have my additional income statement. To change the income statement name, we just need to revert back to the index, and then you would see I can go and give it a new name. Okay. As well as my income statement 1, 2, and 3. So I hope that covers that one. If I have more than 5 income statements, sorry, one last show. If you are logged in as a manager or partner, sorry, I just need to close that. You would see detailed income statement. I can increase it 6 to 7 to 8, just depending on how many detailed income statements I do need to show. But effectively, you would get that as an option. Any other cues, Clarissa, Michelle, that maybe they want to just cover?
Could you show just a little bit of foreign currency, please?
Of course. Okay, so foreign currency translation, again, trial balance. So open my trial balance, I've got my foreign currency translation, I need to set it up. So foreign currency setup, okay, let's just go with I'm going to make up $1, we're going to give it $1, and I'm now going to choose my spot rates. So again, sorry, this is very haphazard because I don't know what the rates are, so we'll just go with a 12. And for the year, the average was 18, okay, and then prior year, 14, 20, okay. Obviously, you just need to make sure you've got the right spot rates and average rates, please. And I'm going to save and close, okay. So I've built a foreign currency database, and I'm now going to toggle my foreign currency. So what you'll notice, my trial balance is kind of standard. There's no additional links. If I toggle my foreign currency, it's now going to show me my value. There's my foreign currency translated values. And at the end here, I've got the foreign currency translation reserve, and it's gone and summed it up for me. And it also shows me the prior. Don't know, is there anything more to show, Clarissa, Michelle, on that one? Don't know if you guys want to add a tip there.
I think that is perfect. Thank you.
Did that cover it? Okay.
Just having a quick look. There's
No
a bunch
worries.
of questions that's come up now.
It's okay.
Next, I'm not sure if you showed this. I have a quick question here. Someone wants to switch, Hanu wants to switch to PPE note. Can you
Okay.
quickly show the users how to do that?
With absolute pleasure. Okay. So, okay. So remember, from a trial balance point of view, you can add extra links. From a financial statement point of view, you can add extra links. But we also have a cool feature in the sense of I can switch up my note. So I'm going to do that to my dear PPE note here. So obviously everything's going horizontally, but I actually want these categories to go vertically. So how would I do that without having to completely rebuild it myself? So again, template tools, and I'm going to come to my add links. Okay. And what am I basically looking for? I want to switch a layout. So I'm going to look for the word switch. Okay. And we have this available for deferred tax, biological assets, intangible assets, and PPE. So I'm going to actually apply this change. So apply the update. Remember, it is going to give me a little bit of a warning. So I'm going to say, okay. And now I've got to enter my password. Why? I am structurally changing my financials. So I'm going to say, okay. And instead of now having to try and insert rows, cut rows, or send the file in, or anything along those lines, basically Draftworx is going to do some magic in the background. Let it do its little thing and run for a bit. Okay. Right. It's going to just give me a little hit of a heads up. So obviously, if anything had changed, it's going to take me directly to my trial balance in the event that I had anything unlinked. So don't freak out at this point. Everything's blank. So I'm like, what happened to my trial balance? It's okay. It's just filtered it to find anything that wasn't linked. I can clear the filter. Remember, green is filter. Whew, still have all my information. Let's go have a look at my financials. But before I do, just want to highlight that suddenly a new file was added to my profile. So you'll see detailed back. So whenever we add links or we do a switch like we've just done, Draftworx automatically runs a little bit of a backup for you. So if I did it in error, I can revert back to the original, no problem. So let's go have a look at what my note looks like now. Okay, jump across to my notes, and there I have switched my PPE note in a matter of, what was that, like 30 seconds? Okay. Anything else that's popped up out of interest? Anyone?
If you could maybe recap how to add working papers, please. Add in the
All of
working
them.
papers.
Cool.
Mhm.
So, okay, so in working papers, also remember, obviously I've got none at the moment, so I could switch. Okay, I'll go through that. But I've got a whole bunch of working papers that I've done by myself. So I'm going to go, and I've got 2 ways to do this. Just depends on how you want to use it. So Office Tools, import a file, and you can go and just import the logo for now. I'm going to open it and I'll save it to working papers. Okay, import my file. Then I go to working papers and I go look, and there I've got my logo. Okay. If, however, I have got quite a large sum of working papers, so maybe, you've got your debtors age analysis, your creditors age analysis, your VAT reconciliation, your own personal tax reconciliation, or I don't know, an installment sale agreement that you want to pull in. So lots and lots and lots of documents that you want to pull in one go. Okay, I'm just going to swing it. I'm going to go audit report, bank statement, fixed asset, form of the trial balance too. So hold in Control, select all the documents you want, just click on it and drag it to the folder. So I'm hovering over working papers, and you can hopefully see like a tiny little rectangle. Drop it into working papers, and ultimately what's going to happen is open my working papers, and there's my bank statements, there's my audit report, there's my fixed asset register, there's my trial balance. So I can do it that way. I don't know, is that the one that we're meaning, see, or is it the switch and add to the file?
I think you've got it right.
Okay.
Sure. There's a bunch coming in. Just moving the notes up and down so that you can change the note number, please.
With pleasure. So balance sheet's got note 4, and then I've got note 6. Doesn't quite make sense to have 4 and 6. What happened to 5? Don't want 5 where it is. So we're going to go and we're going to look. So let's actually just use the hyperlinks. So I want to make note 6, note 5. Go to note. Okay. I'm not hovering, but I'm in the cell where it's got the note number 6. And I am going to go to design, and I'm going to go to the option over here where it says notes, and I can move up or move down. So I'm going to move it up because I want it to be note number 5. So move up. I've now got it as note 5. If I jump back to my balance sheet, note 4, note 5, you're note 7. So again, it's just a case of make sure you're in the cell, move the notes up until you get to what you want it to be. Okay, so I think I may have mixed it up, but yes, you are able to move, no worries. Thank you again to our lovely users. Thank you for joining us today. Really, we do appreciate it. We absolutely love our users. So thank you, because without you guys, we wouldn't be where we are. So thank you.